So I got a question from someone whose partner or now ex-partner had told them to date other people and to give up on trying to repair the relationship. And this is something that a lot of members have found quite common when they're trying to repair a relationship, is that their partner tells them, give up, go date other people. And this suggestion to not only walk away from the relationship, but to date somebody else can leave people feeling a little bit confused and quite deflated when they're trying to repair this relationship. So in this video, I'm going to break down the reasons why your partner or ex-partner told you to date other people, and how, even when they're making this suggestion, to turn the relationship around. So you've gone through a breakup, or you're in the middle of trying to repair a relationship. Maybe your partner is exploring other relationships. Maybe they're just wanting to be single. Maybe they're just saying to you that they don't want to repair the relationship right now. A lot of people get caught up in this idea that they need to walk away, they need to stop trying, they need to stop growing, and to stop trying to repair the relationship. They can feel rejected, they can feel let down. But when you've been through a long-term relationship, if your partner is making the suggestion that you go date other people, oftentimes this is not actually rejection. This is more of a challenge. Not to chase them, but to become the best version of you on your terms. Now, I know this may sound a bit crazy, but I want to break down the reasons why your partner is suggesting right now that you should move on. And I want to talk about how to turn that into an invitation to become so emotionally magnetic that they start questioning everything. So the first reason why they tell you to move on, to date other people, is because ultimately, and this may hurt, they don't believe that you'll change. So they may still care about you. They may even still love you, but ultimately, when a breakup happens, it means that they've lost faith in the version of the relationship that existed. This isn't always about one big betrayal. Most of the time, it's about a emotional buildup, miscommunication, broken trust, lack of follow-through, or patterns that they didn't believe that you could break. This is the breakdown of the three main elements of relationships: emotional safety, intellectual intimacy, and goal synergy. When these three elements break down, this is when a breakup happens. They ultimately look at the relationship and they don't see the potential in it anymore because of what's happened so far. So when they say you should move on, what they're really saying is, I don't see a future unless something radically changes. And I don't think that it will. Now, again, I understand that this may hurt. However, knowing this data has always existed. Now that you know it, you can do something with it. And I'll talk a little bit about what you can do later on in the video. The second reason why they tell you to move on, to date other people, is they can feel guilty. So they're kind of giving you an exit. So when people feel guilty for hurting you, for walking away from you, oftentimes they can preemptively let go. So sometimes, when I start working with members, they can hear things like, well, you deserve someone who treats you better, or I'm not good for you right now. But oftentimes this is kind of an emotional self-protection. They feel guilty about not being able to really tell you about why the breakup happened. And they don't want to see you hurt. They don't want to feel like they're the villain. So instead of staying in a situation that they don't feel happy in, they kind of tap out first. Oftentimes that can give them the justification that you weren't really invested in the relationship in the first place. So for them, it can give them the satisfaction of, I was kind of right to walk away from this. The next reason is that they can want distance, not pressure. So when they tell you to date other people, oftentimes it's less about you and more about their emotional bandwidth. So maybe things feel intense, maybe things feel chaotic or too serious. Maybe you're putting pressure on getting back together in the relationship. Oftentimes during this time, people can get very needy. They can start to constantly want to talk about the relationship, about this idea of getting back together, and start to try to take a lot of emotional stability from their partner, and oftentimes can become quite reliant on their now ex-partner for emotional stability. This can be quite draining. So if your partner is trying to process things emotionally, and they also have to process things emotionally for you at the same time, then this can become quite a drain on them. So oftentimes when they're telling you to move on, it can be a way of them creating space for them just to be able to breathe again. So this may not seem logical, but it can be very real. In their eyes, this suggestion helps them to avoid more emotional overwhelm. The next reason is that they might be seeing somebody else. And I know that this one may sting, but this ultimately can be quite a good thing to know, right? They can be curious about someone new. They could be texting with someone. They could be casually dating. If emotional safety is broken down and they don't feel like they're even able to tell you that they want to explore other relationships, this can often come out in a way that they suggest to you that you should go on to try dating other people, to move on past this relationship. And again, this is not about their character. This is not about them manipulating you. This can be a subconscious thing, right? Because ultimately, if emotional safety is broken down and they don't feel comfortable to share their feelings because of the way that the relationship has ended up, then this can come out in other ways. But also subconsciously, this also can test the relationship. And again, I want to be clear that this is not some conscious thing, but when your partner is saying to you, move on, go date other people, and you spent all this time trying to repair the relationship, if they make the suggestion that you date other people, and then you do, oftentimes this can confirm to them that they were right, that you weren't as invested in this relationship, that all of these words that you've said about how you wanted to repair and rebuild the relationship was all just words. It wasn't actually actions. A lot of the times they can be asking, are you actually going to chase me? If I pull away, are you going to continue to put in the growth that you say that you're putting in, or are you going to give up? So again, I want to be clear that this is not malicious, but subconsciously, these are the things that can happen in their mind when a breakup has happened. But another reason is that they can want comfort without having to have the pressure and commitment. So oftentimes there can be hot and cold behavior. You can hear things like, I still care about you, but maybe we should see other people. Oftentimes keeping you at arm's length can mean encouraging you to see other people. That means that they can watch to see whether you grow, whether you change, whether you turn into the person that you are promising that you're going to turn into, or are you going to remain the same person? This means that they can be around without having the pressure of needing to talk about whether to get back together or not. And again, I want to be clear that this isn't evil. This isn't manipulative. This is fear. Fear of uncertainty, of emotional responsibility. This is fear. This is a lack of trust. If they've looked at the relationship and they've seen it headed in the wrong direction for so long, it takes a long time to rebuild trust. And ultimately what they're wanting to see is what you're saying and with your words is reflected in your actions. If you are trying to repair the relationship and you're making the right changes and the right growth, there is a real need, evidence over a long period of time that you are this new person that you're saying you're going to be. And if they're telling you to date other people, and if they are making that suggestion that you date other people, this can prove to them either way whether you are growing or not. If your focus is on repairing this relationship and growing yourself, making the changes that you've been promising to make, or if you're going to throw it all away and decide to date around for an easier option. But that leaves the question, what do you do? Do you date other people? Because that's what they're saying, right? Or do you do something else? All of these reasons, you can use this as fuel instead of failure. The first thing to do is to stop convincing and start growing. I speak about this a lot. And ultimately, when you're trying to repair the relationship, everything starts within yourself. Building a version of yourself with emotional discipline, stronger vision of who you want to be, self-respect, communication tools, relationship skills. Focusing on your growth focuses on everything that's in your control, and letting your growth make them question what they thought they knew about you. Ultimately, if they have this perception of you, telling them that you're the best option is not the way it's going to change their mind. Showing them through your actions, showing them in who you want to be day after day, day in, day out, as you grow, showing them with actions is how you do it. This is one of the most fundamental elements of relationship repair. Self-growth is the key to any chance of reconciliation. This is what I talk about a lot with my members, is where to shift your focus. When you try to focus on things outside of yourself, on your partner, on persuading, on telling them that you've grown, it always backfires. But when you focus on your own growth, on learning the skills, on the communication skills, the emotional regulation skill, on the self-advancement to become the best option, that's when everything changes. And it means that you don't need to wait around for your partner to see it, because you'll be living it every single day. And ultimately, over time, if your growth is true and deep, they will see it. And that's the difference. And if you do want to start that journey and join the members and I, then join my relationship bootcamp, where you'll learn the same fundamental steps about relationships that all of my members start with to start turning their relationships around. All you have to do is click on the link in the description to start today. So the next thing to do is to take ownership. In order to grow, you need to take ownership and not be on the defense. So instead of trying to win them back with words, show emotional maturity. Send a message, not literally, not like a text message, but send a message through your presence. Being able to show up by looking at yourself and not just acknowledging where you went wrong, but being able to do the work to never repeat it. No one is perfect in a relationship. So being able to identify where your weak points are, where your growth is, and being able to hyper focus on making sure those challenges are worked on and you actually put in the work to make those changes. The next thing to do is to create safety, not pressure. So learning deeply emotional regulation, conflict de-escalation, communication skills, all of these things create what we call emotional safety. I've actually done a much deeper dive video on this, which I'll link to on the screen, but emotional safety is all about creating the environment where you are able to express your feelings without any negative consequences. You damage emotional safety by shouting, by talking over your partner, by interrupting, by not validating them. All of this destroys emotional safety. If you're creating emotional safety, this means that you're not creating pressure to get back together. This actually has the inverse effect of what pressure does, which is giving them the freedom to get closer to you on their own terms, giving them the autonomy and the freedom to make their own decisions, but growing so much that they're naturally drawn towards you. This is really crucial when it comes to relationship repair, learning how to create this emotional safety rather than pressuring them and pushing them into a relationship with you. Emotional safety is one of the 3 core elements of relationships. It's one of the most crucial, and it is the foundation when it comes to rebuilding back a relationship. So I'm going to leave you with that deep dive video on emotional safety, and I will see you over there.